What is up, Retro Maniacs? Joe Day coming at you from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. And 8 Questions is back. And this week, we're going to be talking to Paul Lesko, the hobby lawyer, to learn a little bit more about him as a collector. But before we get to that, hit the music. All right, Retro Maniacs, I am here with what we affectionately call the hobby lawyer, Paul Lesko. Paul, welcome to 8 Questions. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on. I think it's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be fun, too, because a lot of people know you as a lawyer, but they don't know you're also a collector. So this will be a nice way for them to get to know you a little bit better that way. For the new viewers out there, 8 questions. What we do is we bring someone in from the hobby. We ask them the same 8 questions to really bury into their soul, to really put the light down on their face and ask them and really get to know them as collectors. We're going to do that with Paul Lesko today. Let's get right into it. Paul, question number 1. What is the first card you remember collecting?
Oh, this is an easy one to remember because I talk about it quite a bit. So I started collecting in the 80s, particularly 1986. And even though I lived in the suburbs of Chicago, I really liked a pitcher out of New York for the Mets, Dwight Gooden. And that was the focus of my collection. I have so many Dwight Gooden, especially 86 Goodens in my collection. But that's exactly what I targeted. But it was to my detriment because even though I lived in the suburbs of Chicago, I collected 0 Michael Jordan cards at the same time. So was very high on Gooden, very low on Jordan. And my collecting has continued that same way. Buy high, sell as low as possible. And that's me.
And folks watching at home, that is the opposite of what you should do. But
no, it isn't. Be here with the rest of us.
Yes, that's true. All right, question number 2. What is the most valuable card you have ever personally owned?
So when it comes to collecting, I collect cards that are really involved in lawsuits. So a lot of my cards really aren't worth much. I have a real hefty collection of counterfeit cards, but the card that I have that is worth the most, it's one of my COVID finds where everyone was back home flipping through all their cards. See what they had. Well, I had a box of 2011 Update that I had forgotten about and went through it and happened to pull out a gold Mike Trout.
Wow, nice.
So that really made up for all of COVID, I guess. But that's probably the best card I have. I mean, it's been on some hard times right now. It's probably just batting at $1,000, but it's that's the best card I've got.
Yeah, probably about 2 years ago, probably triple, quadruple that, the way things were going. And you mentioned you collect because of the lawsuits. You mentioned in a tweet, I have to throw it out there, you were very disappointed that Panini put all these really expensive cards in their lawsuit, if I remember correctly, because you're going to have to go and get some of those RPAs now, right?
Oh, so yes, that is the unfortunate. While most of my cards are like counterfeits or like cheap knockoffs, there are some out there that are fairly expensive. And in the Panini antitrust lawsuit against Fanatics, they put in some really, really expensive cards that they mentioned there. And there's also the lawsuit over the LeBron James RPA that's going on right now. So there are some cards I probably will not have a complete collection, but it's all about the chase, isn't it?
Right. Exactly. All right. Question number 3, Paul. What is your drink of choice? Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Okay. I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to do the lawyer. I'm going to give you an alcoholic and a non-alcoholic.
Okay. Perfect.
So my drink of choice normally is a very easy decision. It's a hot chocolate. I start my days with a hot chocolate. I probably have a second hot chocolate later going on in the day. But unfortunately, I decided to really hurt myself for 2023, and I've given up sweets. So I have not had a hot chocolate all of 2023, or also the answer would easily have been hot chocolate. Okay. But because I have less hot chocolates, I've flipped now, and we'll go to the best drink that I have. It's an alcoholic drink. It's a Bombay Sapphire and Tonic on the rocks with olives instead of a lime.
I was going to say a little lime. No, olives. Okay, olives. Interesting.
Yeah. I like a little bitter. I like a little more bitter than sweet.
I'll pull the curtain back here a little bit. It's 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, or I'd be cracking open a beer whenever I ask that question. So
yeah, unfortunately, I would have joined you, but I'm like, ooh, I don't think I'm pre-gaming today. So
Right. Pre-game the day. All right. Question number 4. If you could rip any box of cards, what would it be?
yeah, and I have to go back to my first answer here because I didn't open any 1986 Fleer in 1986
Yeah.
to appease the 12-year-old me. Yeah, to appease 12-year-old me at that time, I would definitely need to get a box of 86 Fleer. And I'm sure you've probably heard that answer quite a few times. I wish I had
Yeah.
a more original answer, but I don't. That's my dream to open
I
up.
think that's the consensus for a lot of folks. Even me, I'm not even a basketball guy, but that would be fun to rip.
Yeah, so
All
many
right.
good cards, such a good looking set. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. You know that fake Jordan rookie that's in there, right?
yeah, I've got a lot of counterfeit Jordan rookies in my will have to get an 86 Fleer for my collection.
Bet. All right, question number 5. Tell us something about yourself that most people may not know.
Ooh, I think one thing that most people don't know is I am a nature nut. I spend as much time as possible. We live on some wooded areas. So every weekend, and when we got this place, it was heavily infested with invasive honeysuckle, bush
Oh,
honeysuckle. And a lot of our yard was just impenetrable. So every weekend, I'm out removing all the invasives. I'm planting the native plants. I have a biology, my background's in biology.
oh
So my
wow.
entire yard is a giant experiment where I've removed invasive plants, planted native plants, and everything's a 3-year project because everything in biology takes 3 years to happen. So I'm a big nature nut.
I would have never guessed the biology. Bearing the lead there, Paul. I would have never guessed you were a biology major. All right, question number 6. What was your first car?
Oh, so my first car was a 1978 Ford LTD. This is an aircraft carrier of a
Hmm.
car. Probably got 9 miles to the gallon. But this was back when gas was 99 cents a gallon. So,
Right.
kind of all you had to do was find anybody's pocket change and you can get at least another gallon of gas in the car. And it was a horribly brown, purpley kind of color. And if you remember, all the felt ceilings were
Oh
falling on
yeah.
everyone's head, so you had to
Yep.
staple it back up. But the beautiful thing was, we could fit 5 people in the back and 3 people in the front. So I was the one driving everybody around. So it was a good, horrible car to have.
That doesn't sound street legal at all, Paul.
Well, I'm not sure if you're my age, but I remember when they finally passed seatbelt laws and everybody was up in arms about
Yeah.
their rights and their freedoms.
Sounds right. All right. Question number 7, a little game we play called buy, sell, burn. I'm going to give you 3 things. You have to decide whether you're going to buy them, keep them forever, sell them. You like them okay, but you're fine getting rid of them, and then burn them. Can't stand them. Want them out of the hobby. Okay. The 3 things I'm going to give you: slabs, top loaders, binder pages. What
Okay.
are you buying? What are you selling? What are you burning?
This is going back to my childhood. I had a lot of binder pages,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm buying. I'm buying binder pages. I like those. Unfortunately, I'm a slow learner, and I only learned 5 years ago that it's better if you only put one side of cards on there, so you can actually see the backs. So I'm a very slow learner, but I'm buying those. Um, I'm selling top loaders. I still like
Okay.
top loaders. And I think slabs are evil and they lead you into grading. So I'm burning slabs.
You would be surprised how many people are with you on the binder pages. I think it's like 3 in a row now. People have bought binder pages in this segment, so you are not alone. And I'm with you with grading. Even though I have some cards graded, I have gone away from it now. I use one touches with sleeves and things like that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
great answers. Love the answers there. All right, question number 8. Other than recommending buying any particular card, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself when you first started collecting? So don't say go back and buy some packs of 86. That you
Yeah.
can't say that. But what advice would you give yourself?
I think I've fallen into the trap, and I still think I'm the world's worst collector because I've fallen in the trap of trying to prospect or trying to get those
Mhm.
the good rookies to the detriment that I've never really gotten into vintage. And I've only recently tried to get into vintage, but now that everything vintage wise that I want is so high, it's a
Mhm.
barrier for me to enter. So I really wish I would have been a more even collector. Sure, it's fun to buy the lottery tickets and see what
Right.
happens, but buy some of the old standards. They're there for a reason.
That's great advice. I think a lot of people need to start prospecting a little bit less. It can get dangerous out there and very expensive.
Yeah.
Paul, this is normally where I end the show, but I would be remiss. There's a lot of folks out there. We have the hobby lawyer on there, and there's these pressing questions about the world today in terms of card collecting. I would be remiss if I didn't add a ninth question that people really want to get your thoughts on.
Okay.
Which character is coming back in the next Fast and Furious? We saw Gal Gadot. She seems to be alive now.
Yeah.
So who do you think? Who is going to survive this massive like cliffhanger ending and come back in Fast 11? What's going on here?
Well, I do have to say, so my kids and I just love watching the Fast and Furious movies. We do not like the Fast and Furious movies, but we love watching them mystery science theater wise, just making fun of it and just having a great time. And so this time, whenever anybody died, we're like, okay, they're coming back. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, if you want to put the big spoiler alert,
right, Mike, put it across. Spoiler alert.
But I'm pretty sure you're going to bring back John Cena. I mean, you're not going to kill John Cena. I mean, they're all going to come back. Nobody's going to die. I mean, nobody dies in that franchise.
Everyone that's died is going to come back. Everyone that's dying right now will not actually die. That's what we love about it. A franchise that started on stealing DVD players and combo TVs, right? Yeah. They're going to the moon now. So, all right, Paul, that was 8/9 questions. We had to get the important one in at the end.
Perfect.
Really appreciate you being on. Where can the folks find you, Paul?
You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Lesko. I try to break down all the legal cases that are out there in kind of a fun and understandable way. So, if you want to learn more about what's going on in the background of the hobby, check me out.
And if you are not following Paul and you're one of our viewers, subscribers, what are you doing? You're doing the hobby wrong. If you have any question about court cases, he breaks them down in very, very, very chewable, post. You can really dig into those. And we appreciate all the work you do for the hobby. Paul, thanks for coming on 8 Questions. And folks, we will catch you next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.